I love myself some handheld gaming. I love myself some mini PC gaming. And I love myself some really cool eGPU stuff that you can't get from other brands. This here is the ONEXGPU 2. What's interesting about this is obviously it's a really cool eGPU dock, right? Relatively portable. It's the type of thing you can actually throw into your backpack rather than my, Razer gigantic thing. It also has a chip that you can't find anywhere else. This is the AMD 7800M, which is fantastic. I'm really excited to play with this.
Well, this is the last year's model of the ONEXGPU, just called the ONEXGPU 1, because today we're going to be looking at the ONEXGPU 2. You can see here the world's first portable eGPU with storage, which is probably true. You can still buy these, $650 American. Realistically, it's not a bad price for what you get here. If you just look at the base product here, it's a dock, you get display out on it, you get that Occulink connector. Occulink is going to offer considerably better performance than an eGPU that uses USB 4, Thunderbolt 4, Thunderbolt 3, whatever. Much, much better performance. If we come down here a little bit further, you can see last year's model used the 7600M XT, which is still a massive upgrade over what your iGPU can do in some of these handhelds, mini PCs, and iGPU laptops. It's night and day difference. You're getting a huge increase in performance, but it's going to be something around, a 4060 level performance if you're an NVIDIA person. If you're AMD, then you know what a 7600M XT is going to do. Good performance, huge upgrade over iGPU, but still not going to be really geared towards 4K gaming. You can do some 1440p, kind of mixed, but it's more geared towards probably 1080p and a little bit of 1440p. Still very capable. Pretty great upgrade for a portable little thing there. But ONEX now has, Indiegogo, the pre-orders here for the ONEXGPU 2 that we're looking at here today. Huge increase in performance. We're going up to a RX 7800M. What does that mean? We're getting much more performance. This is a 1440p/4K capable GPU. We're getting an extra 4 gigabytes of VRAM, 12 gigabytes of VRAM, which if you follow PC gaming, you're going to know that for 4K, you need to have 12 gigabytes or above. Just plain and simple. You need to have 12 gigabytes of VRAM. It's just the way that it is. And even for 1440p, more and more, you're looking at 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So that's a huge improvement there. You're still going to get the Occulink. So you're not going to get that huge nerf in performance that you get when you're looking at, a USB 4 type device. Perfect for any of these handhelds, laptops, or mini PCs that use Occulink. Look at support here. It's already way over its goal, which makes sense. This is, you'll see here. It's a fantastic product. $900. Basically, you get a little bit of a discount right now if you pre-order. It's not a huge price increase over last year's model. Still money. Money is money, right? But you're going to get huge increase in performance. You'll see that in this video here. This is the type of product you're looking for if you really want to get into some 1440p and 4K gaming. These are just some time spy numbers and Firestrike. It's not always the most telling, but you can see here, 15,000, 42,000. Compared to the 4070, which makes sense. This is a 4080 class GPU, right? If you're looking to do 1440p or 4K on a little handheld, stick around for the rest of this review because you'll see what this thing is capable of doing.
Occulink, where are you? There you are, Occulink. So you can hook it up to an Occulink capable device. What's the advantages of Occulink over your traditional USB 4 dock? Well, you get significantly better bandwidth. USB 4 will limit your bandwidth, and so you're getting diminishing returns with GPUs where you lose a lot of the performance of the GPU. With Occulink, you don't have that same issue, but it also functions as a true dock, right? You get LAN support, 2 USB-A, 3, so they're relatively fast. You get multiple outs there, so you get DisplayPort out, HDMI out, TF transflash, aka micro SD card, so you can plug that in there, have more data if you want to store some games in there, more simplistic stuff. USB-C as well, and then your power, and it's got its little ventilation there. Very nice. Prototype. Yeah, this is prototype. You can buy this, but I think you have to pre-order it. It does have M.2 support as well, which we can put an M.2 in there. We can slap that in there. See how that works. But these are available to basically purchase, right? So you can jump into them. Underneath there, this is some information. All right, very nice. I'm not going to tear it apart. Normally I would tear things apart. You see there. Normally I would tear things apart, but this is a prototype unit from the company. I don't want to break it. So I have multiple options you can get. ONEX has handhelds. You can just buy a ONEX device. I'm going to use this, what I have on hand right now. I have a GPD handheld. So it's not just for ONEX, right? Like if you have a ONEX device, you can use it with the ONEX handheld, but it's not just for that. I also have a mini PC that I'm going to bring in at some point as well, right? This is not a 1X branded thing. So it's multi-platform, and they're going to be fine with that, right? Like, obviously they would prefer if you buy their handheld and use it with that, but if you already have a handheld, it's not like you're buying this and you're screwed, right? As long as it supports Occulink, you can use it. Some behemoth, right? Like, you can actually slap that under there. Like, this is where it becomes interesting. I don't like to bring out my giant Razer thing because it's huge. It takes up half my freaking desk. It's the size of a desktop, basically. Whereas this is a little thing you can just slap into place like that. Okay, and there we go. We can see here it's detecting the 780M graphics, which is the internal graphics on the iGPU, and then 7800M, which was not there before. Go like that there. Follow through, privacy view, that. And then we'll just come out here. And ideally, I just go with everything, hit install. And you have to be connected to the internet, so download the drivers. Then it will install the drivers for the iGPU and the external GPU here. So we'll come back in a minute when this is installed, and we should be ready to rumble. So my disk is messy because I've been messing around with it more and more. They do also ship a USB-C, right? So as it stands right now, I'm getting display over Occulink. That's plugged in there. I get access to the display, as you can see there. But another thing you can do is you can plug in USB-C to C, right? That goes in there. And then what happens is you turn this into a dock. Yes, there's other USB eGPUs out there, USB-C eGPUs out there. There's also other Occulink docks out there. But typically they don't always have a full actual dock built in. So this is a GPU dock, but it's also a dock, like a USB-C dock, right? So now I have access to things like a mouse. So I've plugged in a mouse in there, USB mouse there. I could also plug in another thing for, I don't know, like a USB, or I could plug in an SSD over that, or I could plug in a mouse, a keyboard. I have a Bluetooth keyboard hooked up, so it's not a big deal. You have TF cards, so you can put in, TF being SD cards, so you can put in a micro SD card in there, store loads of games on that, right? I mean, these handhelds, they have it built in as well. You can put them in there. We can add even more. For me, I mean, I have really good Wi-Fi, but a lot of people don't have very good Wi-Fi. Good reception. If you're in an apartment, you might have a lot of signal degradation. You can plug this in here, and then over USB-C, you're going to get Ethernet. That'll pop up in a second over there. And another thing you can do is you can plug in multiple displays here. So I have one plugged in right now. We can plug in two. So we can have two displays. I guess technically you can have more, right? There you go. So looks like we have that for some reason mirrored. Let's come up here now. All right, go like that there. And then I don't want to be like that. I want to extend. So now I have three displays hooked up. So now I have like an actual desktop setup. And this handheld here has 32 gigabytes of RAM. The CPU is powerful enough. Now I have a very powerful GPU. So I mean, we're getting to the point now where I can easily have a true desktop setup, multiple displays here, two displays. And I'm not losing a lot of bandwidth over the GPU because it's not, it's not a normal USB based GPU. So that's really nice. The USB-C is handling stuff like the accessories, right? And extra storage, these type of things, Ethernet. Right? We've taken our little handheld here, turned it into a straight up like actual system here. Memory, 32 gigabytes, some being taken by the iGPU, which I could turn that down now if I wanted. I'm not going to, but see how it has hardware reserved 8.2, right? Taking some of my system memory. I'm not going to need that much for the iGPU because I'm not using the iGPU right now, at least. You could turn that UMA frame buffer significantly down there. You're not going to need 8 gigabytes of hardware reserved anymore. Whatever handheld you have, go into the BIOS, turn it down to like 1. Because you're not going to need it anymore. Even 512 kilobytes, even 512 megabytes would do the trick. That's going to be enough for just general Windows stuff if you unplug the external dock, or you can have it on dynamic or something so it changes depending on what you're doing. I thought about recording this externally, but I decided, you know what, I want you guys to see what I see. Game capture is fun, but this is Baldur's Gate. So Baldur's Gate, normally, you're going to get 1080p, 1200p, and you're going to be looking at low settings, and you're going to be getting like 35 FPS. So yeah, that's what you're going to get. Turn up these settings. I mean, we can probably go high, realistically. And we'll go just balance. This is 4K. So 4K balanced on high. Let's see what we get. This is also an extremely hard to run area. So 4K gaming is on the table, right? Baldur's Gate on medium, on high, right? Really good performance. Let's kick out to another area that I like to test recently. It's also very demanding. Yeah, here's the last light in, another incredibly hard to run area. I've been testing this a lot with iGPUs recently. So I kind of know what we're getting. We would be getting on low 1080p, 1200p, we would be getting about 35. Here we're at with probably balanced scaling. Here we have the same balanced scaling, but we're at 4K, so we're at 4 times the resolution, and we're at double the FPS, right? So huge boost to performance there. CPU, we can see up here, it's pulling 20 watts. CPU is at 43. The GPU is not actually at full. This is a pretty CPU heavy game, Baldur's Gate, so I'm testing it. So the GPU actually can do more. Like, it has more legs here. It's just that we're hitting a little bit of the CPU issue. Now, again, next generation Ryzen AI stuff, the CPU is like twice as powerful as the 7840U or the Ryzen AI. So when we get handheld to mini PCs with the Ryzen AI stuff, the raw compute is going to be massively higher than this here, this tiny little thing here. So what's going to happen is this GPU here is going to be able to be at 100% easily because the CPU will be able to keep up. This GPU is actually so powerful, the CPU probably can't keep up. But yeah, really good performance here. This is, you know, we're well above 60 here. Even if we rip around here, we're still above 60, right? Let's try a little native just to see what 4K native gaming looks like on high too. Yeah, right? Because it's hitting the CPU a little bit, this is native. 4K native, really good.
It's a huge increase in performance. Extra 4 gigabytes of VRAM, very capable. You can see that the 7600M was somewhere around 4060. They're very similar, right? That's the kind of class that you're in there. So jumping up to this year's model, the 7800M, is going to be offering, well, looks like 50% in time spy, which you can believe it, especially this is only 1440. This is 1080p, right? But this is a 1440p / 4K. Honestly, if you look at 4K, these numbers would be probably even more impressive because of the VRAM and the capability. So focus a lot. There's a little bit of 1440p, but focuses a lot on 1080p, which is interesting. I think that they should be focusing more on 1440p and 4K because, I mean, yeah, you can see, you know, 155H, you're looking at a 3-fold increase. You know, this one here looking at 2.5, right? A little over 2.5 from the iGPU, but that's at 1080p. Realistically, if you throw this thing at 1440p or 4K, the difference between them is going to be even more massive. So, I mean, this thing is obviously going to be very capable for 1440p, but realistically, this is the type of handheld you're targeting when you're looking at 4K or 1440p gaming.
Okay, so let's bring it back and talk about the device here. What do I think about this ONEXGPU 2 with the 7800M? These are fantastic. These are fantastic devices. They're not going to be for everybody because you need Occulink, but there are a lot of devices out there with Occulink. There are handhelds with Occulink. There are mini PCs with Occulink, right? They exist now. They are a thing. And so a device like this, you're going to be able to get significantly better performance out of your GPU than a USB 4. USB 4 has bandwidth limitations. Occulink does not suffer from that same issue, so you're going to get massively more performance. This 7800, this specific dock here is incredibly good. I mean, obviously you get a lot of goodies here. You get an M.2 slot in there. You get all kinds of other stuff, like you get, you know, display ports and that, HDMI. That's the Occulink. You get access to this via USB-C, like kind of a dock where you can get extra USB-Cs, LAN, SD cards. You're going to be able to expand your storage. These are fast enough for, you know, extra storage as well. So it's a great little device overall. You know, I'm pretty happy with it in terms of like the actual device itself. I've checked out some of the pricing of what they're going to be at, and honestly, it's fair, realistically. Like, you're going to pay, if you go the eGPU route with USB 4, you're going to buy a GPU, you're going to buy an eGPU dock, you're going to plug them in, it's going to cost probably the same, if not more, and you're going to lose all this performance because, you know, you're actually using USB 4, and it's not portable at all. Like, I'm not carrying around my Razer eGPU dock that weighs 37 pounds and is like this big, right? This is something you can throw into a bag. It's kind of like the ROG Ally. The ROG Ally had that, the XG Mobile, and the X13 also had it too, but it's proprietary, right? It was a cool thing, but it's proprietary. This is non-proprietary. This is Occulink, meaning there are all kinds of brands, right? Like, this isn't even the same brand as the One X here. Neither is this. This is just a random mini PC, right? Not the same. I know Lenovo has the ThinkBooks that come with Occulink as well. So you're really able to use something like this, take it around with you. You know, it's relatively portable. Like, it's not that heavy. Realistically, it's not that heavy at all. Throw it into a bag. It's sleek. Take it with you, and then you can set up and have a desktop on the go, like a mobile desktop, if you don't want to use a laptop, for example. Or, you know, you can just slap it beside your monitor, right? Have it over there. When you come home, right, take this with you to play games, take it on the go, play games, come home, stick it into this, and go from 1080p up to 1440p or 4K gaming, right? Or you can also use this then as an actual computer, right? Or your mini PC over there and get significantly more performance, right? Turn something like this into a real desktop PC. 12 gigabytes of VRAM, which is fantastic if you're going to be doing 4K gaming like I did. Because we all know now 4K gaming, 12 gigabytes is like baseline, right? Like you're not going to be going to go below that. 1440p gaming, you also could probably want 12 gigabytes VRAM. 8 gigabyte VRAM is now more the realm of 1080p. Right, so with this here, you're going to be able to, for years to come, play 1440p games at great performance, and even 4K, because potentially when the games become a little bit more demanding of VRAM, you turn on the settings anyways. So this thing is fantastic. This is an actual fantastic device. So check out their website, pick it up. Obviously, you can pick up one of their handhelds as well that come with Occulink equipped with it. But yeah, I mean, you can get like mini PCs and that with Occulink these days, laptops with Occulink these days. Something like this is just a really nice, clean solution, right? If you're going with a desktop-less setup, that's the ONEXGPU 2 with the 7800M. Fantastic product. Thanks for them sending this over here. Some of the other handheld communities are going to be covering this as well. So there's some other people around who are also going to be covering this stuff here. I'm not like a specific handheld YouTuber if you watch my channel, but I do cover it from time to time. I'll put some links to some of the other homies down below. Check out their channels because they're going to do probably a lot more with this stuff than I do. But in the future, I'll probably actually pick one of these up because it is really sweet. And I like the 7800M. It's really performant. Just slap it beside my screen. It's going to be sweet. I'm so hesitant to use my eGPU all the time because it's this giant, massive, ridiculous thing. This is such a clean solution. I mean, I could basically travel with this here and have basically something like a laptop, but also at the same time handheld and desktop all at the same time.